For centuries, thinkers have debated this huge question: what is religion really for in society? Is it a force for good, a tool for control? Well, today we're going to jump right into that, looking at two powerful, and I mean completely opposing sociological theories that try to get to the bottom of it. So, let's get right to the heart of it. This is the big question we're tackling today. Is religion the social glue that holds us all together, or is it more like a drug that just kind of keeps everyone sedated and quiet? It's a huge question, and we're going to explore both sides of the argument. All right, first up, let's look at the case for social glue. This is what sociologists call the functionalist view. And here's the thing about functionalists. They're not really interested in whether a religion's beliefs are true or not. Nope, they ask a different question. What job does religion do for society? And for them, the answer is pretty clear. It's an absolutely vital force for keeping things orderly and unified. Okay, so a good way to think about it is like this. Imagine society is a giant brick wall. Functionalists would say religion is the social cement that holds all those individual bricks, that's us, together. It's not so much about what people believe, but about the effect of that belief. It creates a stable, solid structure. So, what's this cement made of? Well, the key ingredients, according to the famous sociologist Emil Durkheim, is something he called the collective conscious. Now that's just a fancy term for all the shared beliefs, values, and ideas that bring a group of people together. It's like the moral foundation of everything, That feeling that we're all on the same team, playing by the same basic rules. But how does that actually work in the real world? Durkheim said it all comes down to shared rituals. Think about it. Weddings, funerals, weekly services. When people gather and do these things together, they're not just worshiping a god. In a way, they're reaffirming their common bonds, strengthening their connection to each other. It's almost like they're celebrating the group itself. Pretty cool idea, right? So to sum up this view, religion has some really crucial jobs to do. First, it gives everyone a common set of values, a kind of moral code to live by. It also creates this sense of solidarity by marking big life events, weddings, funerals, that sort of thing. It's also how we pass our culture down from one generation to the next. And maybe just as important, it helps us cope when things get tough, giving us a real sense of comfort. Okay, but you might be thinking, what about societies that aren't very religious anymore? That's a great question, and the functionalists had an answer for it. They came up with this idea of civil religions. Think about the intense feeling of community you get during something like the World Cup or the Olympics, or even just a big national holiday. The argument is that these big secular events can do the exact same job, becoming the new social glue. All right, now let's completely flip the script. We've heard the case for social glue. Now let's look at the case for religion as an opiate. And for that, we have to turn to the radically different view of Karl Marx. Yeah, so if the functionalists saw religion as this wonderful source of harmony, well, Marx saw something much, much darker. This is maybe one of the most famous lines in all of sociology. When Marx said religion is the opiate of the masses, he meant it acts like a painkiller. It doesn't actually fix the real problems of society, like oppression and inequality. It dulls the pain. It makes a harsh reality a little easier to swallow for the people at the bottom. So, how exactly does this opiate work? Well, according to Marx, it does a few things. First, it tells people that suffering in this life is actually a good thing, a virtue. Second, it promises a fantastic reward later on, in the afterlife, but only if you suffer quietly now. And third, it makes the whole unequal system seem like it was designed by God. So, hey, why question it? It's an incredibly powerful way to keep things exactly as they are. And this all leads to a really important idea in Marxism called false consciousness. Basically, it means religion gives the working class a totally distorting picture of reality. Instead of seeing that the capitalist system is the real cause of their problems, they're taught to blame themselves, or fate, or sin. They're looking in the wrong direction, and that's exactly what the people in power want. Okay, so there you have it. Two powerful, totally opposite ideas. On one hand, religion is the glue that creates social harmony. On the other, it's a drug used for social control. So, which one is it? Well, as you've probably guessed, it's not that simple. Neither theory is perfect, so let's put them both under the microscope a bit. Let's break down this clash of ideas side by side. For the functionalists, the whole purpose of religion is to create stability and solidarity. But for the Marxists, it's all about maintaining class control. Functionalists kind of see inequality as a natural part of any society, while Marxists see it as the direct result of economic exploitation. So you end up with two totally different takeaways. Is religion a force for social order, or is it just a tool to protect the status quo? But let's be real, the functionalist view has some pretty big holes. I mean, just look around. In a world with so many different beliefs, religion can be a massive source of conflict, not just unity. And there's another issue. The theory is kind of hard to prove wrong. If someone points out that religion is declining, a functionalist can just say, oh, well, sports have taken over its job. It makes it a bit of a circular argument, doesn't it? And hey, the Marxist view isn't off the hook either. It's got some serious weak spots. First off, if you look at history, the working class hasn't always been the most religious group. And think about this. As many countries have gotten less religious, capitalism has gotten stronger, not weaker. We haven't seen a bunch of revolutions. And the biggest problem of all, what happens when religion causes change instead of preventing it? This is where it gets really interesting, because a perfect example totally messes with both theories. Just look at the US civil rights movement. It was organized, funded, and led from within Black Christian churches. In this case, religion wasn't an opiate at all. It was a stimulant. It wasn't propping up the status quo. It was the driving force trying to tear that status quo down. So, what that example shows us is that these classic theories, as powerful as they are, might need a bit of an update for the modern world. Let's take a quick look at how these ideas have evolved and try to figure out where that leaves us. Okay, so later thinkers, sometimes called neo-Marxists, tweaked Marx's original idea. They came up with this concept called hegemony. And the idea here is that social control is way more subtle than just drugging people. It's about the ruling class shaping the entire culture, everything from schools to the media, and yes, religion, so that their way of seeing the world just seems like common sense. It's not control by force, it's control by getting everyone to agree. So, after all that, who's right? Is it glue or is it a drug? Well, the truth is, it can be both. And maybe that's the point. These theories aren't really about finding one single correct answer. They're more like different pairs of glasses. You put one on, and you see how religion can create this amazing sense of unity. You put the other on, and you see how it can be used to keep people down. The real takeaway might be that any powerful belief system has the potential to do both. In the end, sociology gives us the theories, but you're the one out there in the world, observing. So I'll leave you with this question. When you look around, how do you see religion functioning? Do you see it acting as a social glue, binding people together and giving them support? Or do you see it more as an opiate, used to keep things just the way they are? The theories are your tools. Now it's your turn to go out and see what you find.